What's up, everybody? It's KBR Sports back from the break. Remember, you guys can follow and subscribe to the KBR Sports podcast on Rabble TV, Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Also, don't forget, you guys can follow our KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where we tweet the live links prior to every show, as well as our show topics as well. And remember, you guys can call in at 571-991-0566. Once again, it's 571-991-0566 if you guys want to chime in on whatever topics we may be discussing at that particular time. And don't forget to comment, share, and like the KBR Sports podcast so we can get your feedback on all things KBR Sports. All right, so before the break, I touched on Kirk. We alluded to the Kirk Cousins signing and the fact that the Redskins placed him under their exclusive franchise tag. So pretty much now at this point, no teams can talk to Kirk and everything like that. They can't really negotiate with him. But at this point now, the Redskins have until July to work out a long-term deal with Kirk, or he will have to play the rest of the season under that franchise tag. But the Redskins in that time period, they can still trade Kirk and everything like that. But so Nigel, I mean, you give me some of the background details on this whole Kirk Cousins thing and Kirk Cousins feel about being in Washington, of what you heard from people.
From my sources?
Yeah, from your sources.
Okay. I have a couple sources that tell me. Well, I'm going to reveal my source actually. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to. Jason Reed from ESPN. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, the 4-Letter Network. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. For the past couple years, former Redskins official who know Cousins and have said he really does not want to be in Ashburn. He wanted the tag, and also there has been this has been going on forever. Ever since Kyle Shanahan went to San Francisco, there's been chatter about him wanting to go to San Francisco to rejoin with Kyle Shanahan.
Former quarterbacks coach, right?
Yeah, offensive coordinator.
Okay. Can you give me his numbers for the past few years of why this has become such a...
That's a lot of questions, man.
Why this has been such a debated topic? Because, I mean...
Yeah, I got it. Yards last year, 4,917, 25 touchdowns, 12 picks, 97 passer rating, about league average. A little above league average, actually. And then the year before that, 4,100 yards, 4,166 yards, 29 touchdowns, 11 picks, 101.6 rating.
So pretty much all that's telling me is that, in my opinion, that's telling me the Redskins will regret not signing Kirk Cousins long term.
Weren't you against Kirk Cousins earlier?
I said no. I was not against Kirk Cousins. I said he wasn't a franchise quarterback. That's what I said.
Okay.
But I do think the Redskins should sign him long term. Or Washington, sorry, I'm trying not to use that word. But I do think Washington should sign him long term because of the fact. Now, the kind of money he wants, he wants Andrew Luck money. I don't know about Andrew Luck money. I mean, essentially, he's been getting paid Andrew Luck kind of money over the past 3 seasons. He's the most paid quarterback over the past 3 years. But I don't think he deserves that kind of money. But I do think you should sign him long term because what are you gonna do? Let him go and then you look for another guy like him for the same kind of production? You're just going in a loop. So it's like, unless you have something that's a better, yeah. I mean, you're going for a cheap loop, but is it a guarantee? You're gonna put your fans through another few years of waiting for another guy like Kirk? I mean, think about it. But prior to the RG3 season, you had the Jason Campbell years. I mean, you had the Rex Grossman years. I mean, it was Rex Grossman year. But I mean, it still wasn't a great feel in Washington. So. Now that you have Kirk, you've gotten to the playoffs once. Obviously, he didn't get you there last year. He didn't win the big game, but I do think that he's a solid quarterback to have. Because obviously, I mean, he has the stats to back it up. He is. I'm not gonna lie. Kirk is a bit of a stat padder. He definitely plays his stats up in terms to get the money. So at the end of the season, when you look at his stats, you can't be like, oh, well, I mean, he did this and did this. And he does pad his stats some. Like he makes some throws. You could tell at times to pad the stats and everything like that. And then he didn't appear in the biggest games of the season this year in order to get Washington into the playoffs for a second consecutive season, especially during a year where a lot of people thought that the Washington would be able to overtake the Eagles, the Giants, and all the other teams in the division, and the only team that was really going to peak with them was the Dallas Cowboys. So I think the Washington has more issues than just the quarterback position. But I think you don't want the quarterback position to become a big problem. Like the defense is definitely the focal point of where you need to address everything.
Yeah, but I mean it's tough. They still have the cap space to sign people, even if you give him the money that he wants. I mean they have. I want to say high $30 million in cap space. So I mean, even if you want, they're not going to break the bank for a defense player, which they haven't anyway. In the last 2 years since they signed a new GM, I can't remember his name at the moment. They haven't broken the bank to sign any big time free agent, or even on offense or defense. So I mean, I assume, and that's what they wanted. That's what they brought him in for, because they were tired of, the Albert Hainsworth of the world. Any big time contract that came to the Redskins pretty much died as soon as they got there. So they said, we want to get away from that. We want to just bring in talent and homegrown talent, and we'll make that work. So I mean, if they want to do that, they have the cap space to go out and get a couple guys, as well as $35 million, and go out, pay Kirk Cousins. Is that with Kirk Cousins getting paid, or?
I think that's without the Kirk Cousins contract.
So they still have money to go out and get people. They still have their draft picks. They can go out and get draft picks. I mean, they can draft people who they need to. So it's not like they're desperately. They're not going to go out and just blow a whole $multi-million on Hightower or somebody else who's in free agency.
Well, that's the only thing to me, because think about it, he is losing a bulk of his receivers too, though.
Yeah, but I mean, those both are 30 years old now. I mean, Deshaun Jackson, I don't think he's coming back. He's 30 years old and wants a big payday. I don't think he's coming back. Pierre Garçon had dropped production last year. I don't think he's getting older as well. I don't think they want him back. They have Jordan Reed. They have Josh Doxson.
Yeah.
So I mean, who didn't play at all last year?
No, he barely saw the field.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not going to pay them at all anyway. Even if they had the cap, I don't think they're going to pay them.
That's the crazy, but because that's the weird thing for me, because I think part of Kirk's production definitely came from the talent he had around him. I mean, Deshaun Jackson led in yards per reception at 17.2. So it's like he definitely benefited off of the explosiveness of the players around him. So now if you take those guys away, I wonder if Kirk Cousins is still the same player.
No, I mean, no quarterback's the same player, even if you take away one of the best receivers he's had, and another really good receiver. I mean, he's gonna have a drop. I mean, every quarterback would, except for like Tom Brady or Andrew Luck.
Then how do they improve? Because that's part of the reason why they're scared to pay him.
That's what I'm saying. They have I'm breaking his name, Jordan Reed,
mm-hmm.
and they're gonna hope that their number one pick, Josh Doxson, comes out and shows that he's what they drafted him for. And you hope you can pick up another guy or two. You can pick up a slot and pick up a guy who can line up across from Josh Doxson that can fill in their roles.
See, then most of your cap space is going to go to your offensive side of the ball.
No, you're not looking for.
You need a running back too. Yeah, their rushing attack wasn't great last season. Matt Jones was hurt.
I think they're gonna stick with the same running backs.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, that's interesting. It's gonna be interesting, because I think you got guys like Kenny Stills on free agency wise. Alshon Jeffries. It'll be interesting to see how the Washington plays everything out, and then how they address the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I just curious. I mean, I just, for me, it's just one of those things that you don't want to give your quarterback a contract that hampers them or hampers your team so much that you can't do anything. And now, at this point, now that you give him the franchise, he's going to get paid $24 million, I believe, this year. After this year, I mean, if the guy doesn't want to be there, he's going to be asking for a ridiculous amount of money and everything like that. So your hands are kind of tied, essentially. All right, y'all, we're going to transition back to the NBA, where we're going to talk about Phil Jackson and Larry Brown and everything like that. And we're just gonna stick into. We're not gonna hit a commercial break and everything, because we're gonna go to this. Well, actually, no, we will take probably about a quick 10-second break. So stay tuned, y'all. Remember, refresh the page after 20 to 30 seconds, and the live link will reappear after you refresh after 30 seconds. Stay tuned. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show your 24-hour day.